Alright, Volume 3 of Batman 89, Scars Run Deep. Much good issue, as one would expect from something with Batman in it. So, let's get into it. Scars Run Deep picks up right where Showdown in Burnside leaves us. Harvey comes to, rescues Drake, and proceeds to White Knight himself out of the burning building. The crowd goes absolutely wild, while Drake has a revelation that even though all cops are bastards, Dent's a pretty alright bastard. Harvey claps back with, "Aye fam, I got you." Bruce butts in to say that Harvey has got more balls in him, proceeds to stroke them a little bit, and Harvey says he just did what Bruce would have done. Harvey is on a roll right now, and instead of literally being on fire, he is figuratively on fire, as the Gotham Globe puts him on the front page titled Dent's Inferno. His face floods the television as the good people of Gotham cannot stop talking about Harvey D's good deeds. The TV states that James Gordon is resigning after that vote of no confidence, and the last panel of the page goes over how Dent is about to crush it at the polls on running for governor. Living the dream. We cut to 1 year later where Governor Dent is visited by new Commissioner Gordon, where they go over how Batman is a small army of mercenaries hired by Bruce Wayne since the case has finally been cracked. Told you that Harvey was going to be on his case in this run. Barb said that there is something off about Bruce, and Harvey says that's what happens when you're raised by a butler. Hey man, throw some respect on Alfred for a quick sec. He did the best he could. Suddenly, Barbara pulls her mask off like some Scooby-Doo villain reveal since Mr. Otis is now there and says that if he wants some respect, he's gonna have to show some respect. He flips his lucky coin to see that it landed on tails, and suddenly Harvey knew that it was too good to be true as he's still face first on the concrete being dragged out by Bruce and Drake. This is their first time as a team, a rather wholesome first team up, as since they're dragging Harvey by the feet, his sulfuric acid burning face is being dragged and scraped upon the rough pavement. Ouch. As Drake and Bruce congratulate each other on the heroic act of giving Harvey road rash, the fire dudes arrive to the scene. Harvey gets up to try to walk it off as the fireman gives an irk. As he staggers around wanting to make a speech, the entire crowd goes into shock mode at the sights that they are seeing. He quickly realizes there is something wrong with his face, and he's not wrong. It's like the cook asked how they wanted their dent done, and they said well done and crispy, but just on one side. As Harvey begins to say that he can't feel his face, he gets put onto a stretcher to be hauled off. Barbs thanks Bruce for saving her beautiful Harvey, as Bruce says now that Harvey needs her. I guess he has a face now only a Barbara can love. Drake tells Bruce that Dent isn't gonna be fine, and Bruce says that Harvey has inhaled sulfuric acid. Bruce states to Drake that Harvey ran in to save him, and Drake says he was on the roof feeding his birds, because he has those, and feeds them, like the literal Robin that he is. Drake is saying that he saw the dudes who did the fire, but didn't get a clear view since he was high as fuck. We cut to the ambulance ride, and Harvey isn't having a good time at all while the medic tells Barbs that he will die soon, possibly in the next few months. We cut back to the wreckage as now the spotlight is getting shined upon Bruce about his heroics, and he wants none of it, naturally. And now Fat Harvey pulls up to do some question asking about why he's in Burnside like he was the cause of the fire or something. Drake pulls up to say that he saw those guys dressed badly as Batman run off down the street. Bruce gets distracted by Catwoman on the roof looking like a total snack up in the moonlight. Next up, we see Bat Keaton pulling up to the mansion to find news vans being totally invasive at the front gates and proceeds to ask Alfred what the hell is going on, as Al tells him to use the other entrance to avoid the press. We quickly cut to Burnside in the morning as Drake gets woken up by Mr. Otis and the Reverend. They bring him the goods, a bunch of clothes that don't fit, as well as them saying that he should be at least getting some of the press instead of Bruce just getting it all. Not like both of them want it anyways. I like how the Royal Auto Body Shop logo is definitely going to be the Robin logo for whenever he assumes the mantle. Otis asks why Drake slept in the van since he is welcome to stay with him, but he said that the jugheads who burnt the place down were after him and doesn't want to put Otis in danger, and says that he'll proceed to make make it up to him. Gotta say that Drake has a pretty solid head upon his shoulders and is a man's of respect. We cut over to Bruce having a lovely dream with Selena, and as she's about to lick his face, it turns out to be the cat that she gave him, and his dream is cut short. Bruce wakes up to Alfred in the room as he's reading the paper with his face on the front page. I would honestly really hate being the paper more than I already would if I had a picture like that, if I'm being real. The press is still trying to be pretty invasive as they're still out front, while Bruce has 59 missed calls from them. Alfred asks now that since Selena has come out of hiding, if she would take her cat back. You can tell that Alfred isn't a cat guy. We take a stroll downtown where the alleged Burnside arsonists got released on bail, where their lawyer is making a statement backing their case as Gotham PD is now getting hit with a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Gotta admit, that's a little ambitious, but okay, go off. The page ends on a civilian saying that the city is gonna burn tonight. We're at the Gotham hospital as Bruce is trying to get Harvey on a private jet to Switzerland to get his face less fucked and more put back together. Bruce assures Barbs that her and Harves are more than ordinary people and that Gotham needs them, even though she's pretty hesitant on his offer. We see Harvey getting woke up in a dream to that version of himself at the beginning of the issue, where life is just too damn good. Good Harvey tells normal Harvey that he is him from another world and reminds him of the lecture that they once heard on quantum mechanics, that every time an event has two possible outcomes, the universe splits into two, where both things happen but in separate realities. Normal Harvey has his doubts as good guy Harvey takes him on a stroll. Acting like the ghost of Christmas what could have been, good guy Harvey shows him a reality where he was killed as a baby instead of his mom who got killed, and then she ended up drinking herself to death at the age of 26. He shows him getting arrested as a minor in another reality, getting tried as an adult, and then getting his future stripped right away from him. In another reality, he goes on to show the world that he saw the night prior, at the beginning of the issue, where he was Harvey the hero, where all his dreams come true. He says that it took a million tiny accidents to put one another in their places, and the universe is endless. He hands mangled Harvey his coin and says that he has the power within his choices and can split the universe in two with a simple flip of a coin. Alright, I love how deep it's getting with the relationship with his coin here. Harvey snaps out of his dream as Barbs is by his side. As she is giving him the rundown on some things, he requests his coin. She says she's taking good care of it since that's the reason that they're engaged, but he takes it from her to carve into one side, making his lucky two-headed coin to have two distinct sides, much like his own face, obviously. He tests his own luck to push his faith on the coin and him supposedly have the power to have the universe work for him as the coin says that she loves him. How cute. We cut now to Bruce getting a note from Catwoman to meet him on top of the Shrek building at midnight. As they play a romantic game of cat and bat, he catches her on the same rooftop they were on in Batman Returns, where he got stabbed in the ribs and she got burned with acid. They share a really sweet moment together, and Batman says now that he's got her, he's gonna drag her to the middle of nowhere, Mexico, and hold her captive for 3 weeks. As romantic and idealistic as that sounds, she says that she has the richest creeps in Gotham paying her to put some people behind bars. Bruce, with all the smoothness in the world, asks if she's still working grudges out, and Catwoman snaps back that he's all about morality and justice despite him being blind to the criminals that he wines and dines with. She says if he got over himself, they could own the city together, something that would be really interesting to see. And she adds in there that her shrink has it wrong, where he's the super ego of the two. Before he can finish, Bat Keaton lets out the infamous and is caught off by the fact that Catwoman be telling the shrink about her and Batman. She says her shrink thinks it's a fantasy since 6 clients believe to be Batman, 12 think that they're fucking Batman, and a 14-year-old thinks that he's Robin. Batsy asks if her shrink is from the TV, but their moment is cut short with the city being lit on fire, which is kinda out of their expertise. The last panel that they share together for this issue is a romantic one, as Catwoman tries to put their differences aside considering all they do is fuck things up, and asks if he thinks fires are romantic too. The answer is yes. Last stretch of the issue, we're joined back with the newly reformed Harvey as he's watching the news as the reporter is reporting on the fires that just started in Gotham and says that Harvey is fighting for his life in a hospital bed. He dubs Dent the soul of Gotham, and we end on the first truly official coin flip where he asks if he still is the soul of Gotham, and he gets a hard no and says to hell with it. That leads to the next issue being teased, called Heads or Tails. Gotta admit, this was a really solid issue, much better than the last one, and it was a rather quick read due to how quickly everything transpired. Looking forward to seeing how issue 4 pans out. So wrapping things up, till next time, my name is Freddy Savage, bringing you Batman 89 issue 3, Scars Run Deep. Catch you on the flip side.